What's up, guys? It's your boy TTG here, back with another video. Today, we're going to take a look at the game that happened yesterday. And I would have recapped it yesterday, but I was too tired. So, yeah, we're going to recap the Cotton Bowl between Ohio State and Texas. And, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe, guys. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. Hopefully, we can get there soon so we can start making a little bit better content. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the video. All right, final score, Ohio State 28-14. The game was close. I would say I felt like Ohio State had the game and it was never in doubt, but it was. I was nervous. The reason I was nervous, I really wasn't rooting for either team, but I picked Ohio State, so I kind of wanted them to win. How fitting was that play with Jack Sawyer? We saw Jack Sawyer earlier in the year, well, actually at the end of the regular season. How much he wants to win, man. You saw it at the end of the Michigan game when he snatched the flag from the kid trying to plant it and went on to say, hey, I'm not letting them plant it again. Losing to a team 4 times in a row has got to be difficult, especially when it's your arch rival. But we saw the leadership there, and he's not a captain for no reason. So nice to see him get the strip sack and then return all the way for the touchdown, which effectively put Texas's season to an end. Now, I have to tip my hat right now. I'll go ahead and do it. Hat tip to Texas's defense. The Longhorn defense played fantastic. They were able to disrupt Will Howard more than I thought they would be able to. They held him up in the run game more than I thought they'd be able to. Yeah, just an all-around great performance, especially after that first drive. The first drive, Ohio State marches straight down, scores a touchdown. I was like, oh, boy, here we go. Here's that Ohio State team that everybody's been, looking out for. But no, they settled into the game and only gave up 21 points the rest of the game. So let's just look at a little scoring breakdown. Ohio State scores first. I think Texas answers. Yeah, Texas answers late in the second quarter. And then you get the screenplay to Travion Henderson, the very next play on offense for Ohio State to take the lead 14-7 at half. And then in the third quarter, Texas scores, ties it at 14. Then Ohio State scores in the fourth to go up 21-14. And then Texas is right there knocking on the door. And we're going to talk about it. The dreaded second down call, I think. You're on the 1 yard line. This is a spot where you could probably bring Arch Manning in to open up some run gaps. They decide to leave Quinn in, and they go with a pitch on the 1 yard line, man. And Ohio State's defense is incredibly fast. They've been playing downhill all night. I think it was a bad call. Obviously, looking back, it looks like a bad call. If he scores a touchdown, we're probably not talking about it. But hit for like a 6 yard loss, ends up setting up fourth and 10 or so, I think. Maybe. No, 4th and 8 or 9. I don't know. Something like that. Jack Sawyer makes the play, strip sack, touchdown, ball game. But the game, that's how close the game was. It was pretty late in the fourth quarter, too, if I remember correctly. Like 2 minutes left, maybe, when the strip sack happened. So Texas was really about to score right there. And, yeah, and make the game tied again. Let's look at a few stats, though. Stats don't tell everything, but I do like to dive into some stats. We'll start with Ohio State passing the ball. Will Howard, 24 of 33, 289 yards, a touchdown and an interception. I would have liked to have seen him give Jeremiah Smith a few more shots, but he took what the defense gave him. The interception was pretty bad. I don't know who he was throwing it to right there. That turned the game a little bit, in my opinion, because they were driving down. If I'm not mistaken, that was right after half, like directly after half, and they're driving down. I think they're in Texas territory, if I'm not mistaken. There was an interception. But yeah, he had a pretty good night. Not bad, especially against Texas's defense. The pass rush is good, and the secondary is really good as well. Rushing the ball. I felt like Ohio State would probably have more success than this rushing the ball. Their leader, Travion Henderson, 6 carries, 42 yards, 7 average. Travion Henderson has looked explosive, not just in the run game, but we saw him take that screen. And I don't know if he's just now getting healthy or if his legs are still good since he's splitting carries with Quinshawn or what, but he looks different than he ever has to me. Maybe his freshman year. I believe he had some explosive runs, and everybody was like, oh, this guy's going to be the next guy at Ohio State, and he just never really was until now. Quinshawn Judkins, 9 carries, 36 yards, 4 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. I thought Quinshawn played well, but Texas did limit him. Now, he did some things that are not going to show up on the stat sheet. There was a couple blocks he made that were pretty good. And yeah, things that just aren't going to show up on the stat sheet. Will Howard, 7 carries, 4 yards, 0.6 yards average. This is going to count the sack yardage. But he did have the 18-yard on 4th and short. 8 pops one for 18 yards. Great call there by Chip Kelly and Ryan Day. They hadn't really ran Will Howard all night. And he's sneaky athletic. And they're probably not expecting it there on 4th and 2. Hit him with a run. And I thought he was gone. I think the turf monster got him. But yeah, so great use of running there. Emeka Egbuka, 1 carry, 0 yards. So on the night, the team rushed 24 times for 81 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. It's not awful, but 3.4 with the explosion you got in the backfield with Quinshawn and Henderson and heck, even Will Howard. You expect that number to be a little higher, in my opinion. They do rush for 2 touchdowns, though. Receiving, this is where I was pleasantly surprised. This is what happens when you, in my opinion, now some people may be different, and I haven't watched the film or anything, but I think Texas made it a point to take away Jeremiah Smith and say somebody else is going to beat us, and they did. Jeremiah Smith, 1 catch, 3 yards. I mean, and Will Howard didn't give me, I don't know how many times he was targeted. It doesn't tell me that here, but I don't feel like he got a lot of targets. I feel like Will Howard, even if he's covered, he's still open. Now, there was a couple, I remember at one point in the game, he got one-on-one coverage, and Will Howard was stepping up to throw him a ball. Probably it looked like it was going to be a back shoulder, probably 30 or 40 yards down the field, and Will Howard gets sacked. So, good job by Texas. They had a good game plan. But Cornell Tate led the charge, 7 catches, 87 yards, 12.5 yards per catch. Probably his best career game. I don't remember him ever having a better game. He may have, don't know. Travion Henderson, 1 catch, 75 yards. Obviously, the screen house for a touchdown. That was huge. Egbuka had a pretty good game. 5 catches, 51 yards, 10.5 yards per catch. G. Scott Jr., they tried to get him involved. I felt like maybe at too much. They tried to get him involved. They tried to feed him the ball. There was a couple of times where I would like to see him go somewhere else, but G. Scott, 5 catches, 30 yards, 6 yards per catch. Quinshon Judkins, 3 for 22. And Will Kakmarak, 2 for 21. And then obviously we already talked about Jeremiah Smith. So great game plan by Texas. And like I said, I tip my hat to that defense. They played well. Now let's look a little bit of the Texas Longhorn stats. Quinn Ewers, 23 of 39, 283 yards, 7.3 yards per attempt. Or is that attempt? Or yeah, I think it is. No, it's definitely per catch. Okay. Per completion. Sorry. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Felt like he played okay. There were some throws he missed that probably could have tipped the game in their favor. I think there was one where it was maybe 3rd or 4th down. Guy's wide open. He overthrows him a little bit. Yeah. And I think at that point the game was tied, if I'm not mistaken. Texas did run the ball. Now, the stats aren't showing it, and maybe that's because Quinn Ewers got sacked a bunch. But I felt like they ran the ball a lot better than I figured they would. I think they ran the ball better against Ohio State than they did against Arizona State. I don't remember the numbers from Arizona State. And these numbers aren't great or anything, but and they really didn't get anything too crazy as far as long rushes. Maybe they didn't rush the ball as good as I remember. I remember at points they did run the ball effectively, but that Ohio State defense is good. So maybe I was just like, wow, I didn't expect them to run it all, and they ran some. Maybe that was what it was. Quinn Travion Weiser, 17 carries, 46 yards, 2.7. Nothing really to write home about there. Jadon Blue, 4 carries, 16 yards, 4 yards a carry. Again, nothing really to write home. Arch Manning. Now, I know looking back, hindsight is 2020. You probably want to get Arch Manning a little bit more involved, especially, like I said, in that red zone. I don't know. I'm not a coach, but I saw an interesting stat that no coach that calls plays, that calls his offense, has won a national championship since like 2003. Billy Napier, get us an offense coordinator at Florida. Texas maybe do the same. And it's not to say that you have to let them implement a totally different offense. It's just head coaches have a lot on their plate. Game day, recruiting, logistics. They have a lot of stuff on their plate, especially in a big game like this, that maybe they can't focus enough time on play calling and maybe scheming. Ryan Wingo, this kid's electric. 1 carry, 6 yards. I felt like he had a solid night too. I mean, maybe not as far as total yards or anything, but he just looked explosive. Jarrett Gibson, 1 carry, 0 yards. Quinn Ewers, 5 carries, minus 18. Those are including the sack numbers. And I think they did get quite a few sacks. How many sacks did they get? 4 sacks and 9 tackles for loss. Yeah, they had a pretty good night as far as defense goes for Ohio State. Fantastic game for them as well. I know I congratulated Texas's defense, but I think it goes without saying Ohio State's defense played phenomenal. Bend don't break, the goal line stand that have essentially sent them to the national championship. Jaden Blue, all right, let's go receiving. Jaden Blue, obviously the running back was a problem out of the backfield for Ohio State. That's really the only way Texas scored. It is actually 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. Was it Sonny Styles covering him? They're going to have to figure out something for this next game coming up against Notre Dame, because I guarantee you they're going to see on film what happened. It's a mismatch, and they took advantage of it. Matthew Golden, 2 catches, 51 yards. He didn't play a whole lot, did he? I remember the commentators making it a point to say, hey, this guy hadn't been in the game a whole lot. I wonder why. Is he banged up or something? Gunnar Helm didn't really do a whole lot either. 2 catches, 42 yards. He got the big personal foul, too. I don't think it was a personal foul, just being honest. He pointed at him. I was glad they called it because I was rooting for Ohio State, but hey, probably not a personal foul. I'm just going to be honest. The refs did make some questionable calls. I wonder, do they have penalties on here? They do not. I'll be interested to see. I think Ohio State got 3 holding calls against them, and I don't think Texas had one all night. I mean, and I think in the other semifinal game, the Notre Dame and Penn State game, I don't think they called a holding call on either team all night. At some point, you got to call it. Just my opinion. I don't want them to take over the game, but anyway. Quintravion Wisner, 6 catches, 42 yards. DeAndre Moore, 4 for 31. Silas Bolden, 1 for 24. Ryan Wingo, 1 for 22. Isaiah Bond, 1 for 8. He had a big drop, too. I remember that. That stands out to me now that I'm thinking about it. Quinn Ewers turned the ball over twice, 1 interception and 1 fumble. Fumble, obviously, not 100% his fault. I do think he held onto the ball a little long. But, and then the defense for Texas, 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Not bad. But Ohio State, 4 sacks and 9 tackles for loss. That's, when you put teams behind the chains, I'm an idiot. When you put teams behind the chains with the defense and pass rush you got, that just helps you out even more. So, Caleb Downs with the big interception to seal it. I'm glad he got that. Very deserving. Yeah. Shout out to Ohio State. Sometime this week, I will throw in a breakdown of who I think is going to win the national championship. It'll probably be more extensive than the other 2 breakdowns of the semifinals since this last game of the year. And yeah, we're going to keep covering college football. After the national championship, I'm going to keep covering college football news, but we're probably going to start to transition into college baseball. I don't know if a lot of my subscribers like college baseball, but I am going to cover that some, as well as a little bit of college basketball too in between. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the game, because I did. I hope you guys are ready for the national championship, because I am. And comment who you think is going to win the national championship. Can Notre Dame upset Ohio State? I don't know if they can. I'll be honest. If Ohio State plays even decent, I think Ohio State should win the game comfortably. But anyway, it's been your boy TTG. Until next time.